Hare Krishna. So just the other day, a friend of mine, Rasikananda Prabhu, he told me this really cool story from the Garga Samhita. He's doing editorial work to help publish Dhanavir Maharaj's books, who's publishing Garga Samhita along with commentary. And so this is a story of a king named Dīrghabāhu, and he's a really bad guy, sinful guy. He when he was on earth, he killed over 100 brahmanas, priests. He was addicted to prostitutes. He killed 10 pregnant women. One day he mounted a Sindhu horse and went out hunting, and he accidentally killed a cow as well. And his minister was greedy like him, and so his minister one day, with a very sharp sword, stabbed him in the back because he wanted to take on the kingdom. So seeing him lying there dead on the ground, the Yamadutas came. The Yamadutas came, messengers of death, shinigamis in Japanese. They came to take him. It's like maybe you've seen the movie Ghosts with Whoopi Goldberg, and they come to. There's these dark figures that come to take the bad guys when they die, and then the pious or the good persons, they meet with somebody else at the time of death. So these Yamadutas, or these fearsome figures, come and take him and bind his soul and to take him to see Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, and they're joking on the way. They're not very savory characters. So they take him to Yamaraj and ask Yamaraj, what is a suitable punishment? Actually, Yamaraj asked Chitragupta, his kind of accountant who keeps a track of all the pious and impious deeds. And so he looks through the person's chart, very, very long list, and he says, this man should go to 8,400,000 different hells. For as long as the sun and moon shine, he has killed thousands of deer. He's murdered 100 priests. He has murdered 10 pregnant women. He killed a brown cow. He's greedy. He's a very sinful man. So by the order of Yamaraj, he was sent to a hellish abode, the first one, known as Kumbhipaka, which is a 8,000 mile, 80,000 mile? 80,000, I think. 80,000 mile pit of boiling oil. And this oil is as hot as the oil at the time of devastation. So they take this sinful person and put him in this pit of boiling oil. And as soon as his body touches the oil, the entire 80,000 mile pit becomes cool. And this wonderful account just bewildered the Yamadutas. They brought him back to Yamaraj. And Yamaraj himself was struck with wonder, wondering. They actually, again, both Yamaraj and Chitragupta looked at this man's life, and they could not find a single good thing that he had done. Not one single thing that he had done throughout his entire life. So this situation was just like the great saint Prahlad Maharaj, who was tortured by his father, who tried to kill him by putting him in a pot of boiling oil. And similarly, when Prahlad was placed into the pot of boiling oil, the oil became cool. And this was, actually Prahlad was considered the greatest devotee of the Lord. Out of the 12 great Mahajans, he's considered the most exalted. But this person, who had never done anything good in his life, had caused the pit of oil to become cool. So both Yamaraj and Chitragupta were both struck with wonder. And at that time, the great sage Vyasadeva appeared. And Yamaraj, he presented his doubt. How is this person? What piety does he have? I don't understand how he is able to cool the whole cauldron, 80,000-mile cauldron of oil, simply by his touch. And Vyasadeva said, you are very noble-hearted, and those who have been instructed in Vedic wisdom, they can understand the subtleties of karma. This man must have done something pious. Otherwise, how is it possible that he is able to affect this hellish planet in this way? So Vyasadeva explained what had happened. This man, when he died in a spot where a piece of Gopi, Chandan, Tilaka had fell from someone's hand. And simply by dying in that spot where the Tilaka was, he gained immense piety. So much so that his previous karmas, his sins, were reduced to ashes. They were completely destroyed. So Vyasadeva went to explain that anyone who wears this Gopi Chandan Tilak, this is actually from Dwarka, earlier in the chapter describing that the Rasa Lila was performed in a previous kalpa at that location, and that's why the Tilak that devotees are wearing, you see, is not actually coming from Vrindavan, but it is coming from Dwarka, but it is related to Krishna's intimate pastimes. So anyone who wears it, Vyasadeva was explaining, will be granted a Surupya Mukti, a form just like Lord Vishnu in the spiritual world. And that for the person who simply sees somebody wearing tilak, that person is freed from the sin of killing a brahmana, a priest. And he goes on to explain that one who hears this story, the glories of tilak, this is one of the pastimes this is from the 6th canto of the Garga Samhita in the 15th chapter. There are other glorifications there. One who hears this will be brought back to the spiritual world, beyond the material worlds, which is the abode of Krishna. So upon hearing Vyasadeva's glorification, Yamaraj, who actually has a deep understanding of the glory of Tilaka, he placed that sinner, that person, Dīrghabāhu, into a vimana that was kamagehi. He could go through anywhere he desired, and directed him towards Vaikuntha, the spiritual world. And so that man went back to the spiritual world, straight from the lowest planets in existence. And at the end of the story, it describes that anybody who hears this will go back to Vaikuntha, which is beyond the elements of the material world, which is the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna.